أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. هل أتاك حديث الغاشية وجوه يومئذ خاشعة عاملة ناصبة تصلى نارا حامية تسقى من عين آنية ليس لهم طعام إلا من ضريع لا يسمن ولا يغني من جوع وجوه يومئذ ناعمة لسعيها راضية في جنة عالية لا تسمع فيها لاغية فيها عين جارية فيها سرر مرفوعة وأكواب موضوعة ونمارق مصفوفة وزرابي مبثوثة أفلا ينظرون إلى الإبل كيف خلقت وإلى السماء كيف رفعت وإلى الجبال كيف نصبت وإلى الأرض كيف سطحت فذكر إنما أنت مذكر لست عليهم بمسيطر إلا من تولى وكفر فيعذبه الله العذاب الأكبر إن إلينا إيابهم ثم إن علينا حسابهم.
نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سنريهم آياتنا في الآفاق وفي أنفسهم حتى يتبين لهم أنه الحق أولم يكف بربك أنه على كل شيء شهيد. We will show them our signs in the horizons and within themselves until it becomes clear to them that it is the truth. Is it not sufficient concerning your Lord that He is a witness over all things? Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Brothers, assalamu alaikum. Before we start the formal lecture, I just wanted to inform all of you that today's lecture is different because of two reasons. First is the language and second is the contents. The language will have to be in English because some of us sitting right now, they don't understand Urdu and some friends are on the way and there are few friends of us who are inclined to Islam also. Hopefully they will also join us if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala permits. So we have kept this lecture in English. And second thing is the contents. The ayat which I have just recited it talks about afaq and anfusihim. So for afaq, we had been doing the series of lectures for Quran and Science where our brother Khalid Junaid used to talk about galaxies, he used to talk about the universe, and we used to make use of telescopes. But now we are shifting our focus to medical science and now we are depending on the microscopes. So with that, I will request Dr. Ziauddin to come and tell us about the medical science and relevance between medical science and Quran. Dr. Ziauddin.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم. Dear friends and guests, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, I am quite thankful to Brother Javed for his kind invitation to me to give this talk, and I really appreciate his efforts for the last many months to years that he has been doing it to organize these meetings here, which is very useful, and I hope it will inshallah continue. The topic I selected today is a unique for me also, and many people who will go through it will also find it very unique, because Allah Ta'ala specifically mentioned about this verse in the Quran, that afala yanzuruna ilal ibli kaifa khuliqat. We have gone through it many times, and we have not stopped there and contemplate what is actually behind it. So I just started looking at the camel itself, what's going on with the camel and why it is specially mentioned about camel. And a lot of facts came to light, and inshallah I will share with you. The first important thing is that whatever mentioned in Quran is fact. Whether we can appreciate it or not with the present knowledge is a different thing altogether. And we believe it, and we 100% say that what is there is right. Second thing is that it is not the book of science, which means that whatever mentioned in Quran doesn't mean that it has to be fit with our current knowledge of science, whatever we know about science. It is possible that our knowledge is very significant lacking at the moment, which we will see in the next half an hour, that whatever was known 1400 years back, the people were not aware of it, what we know now. And similarly, in every part of medical education, in astronomy, in geology, a lot of things are coming up which are true facts and which we are able to share now and even appreciate more about it. It doesn't mean that we have to believe in Quran or Allah just because we are going to confirm those facts now, but it is just that it will give us further authentication and support to our belief. As Hazrat Ibrahim once said to Allah, that I just want to see how you make the people alive, and then Allah show him how to do it. So that is something always happening like this. And the last thing is that Quran is the book of guidance, and you will get the guidance from it. In whichever area you are living in, whatever time you are living in, you will get the guidance from it. And the first thing which is mentioned in the Quran as a first verse in the Quran is that, and I will not say first verse, but Surah Baqarah has got, this is the second verse, that Zalikal Kitabul la Raiba Fihi Hudal lil Muttaqin. So it is basically, there is no doubt about this book, and it is guidance for the people who believe and who fear Allah. With that short introduction, I will come to my topic. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Afala yanzuruna ilal ibli kaifa khuliqat. Do they not look at the camels, how they are made? And with that, I will just go to the I just put a couple of slides in between, not related to this topic directly, but is directly related to something which was mentioned in the Quran, but it is discovered in the last few hundred years, maybe less than 100 years. This is one of the verses from Surah Tariq, and it is Yakhruju min bainis sulbi wa taraib, proceedings from between the backbone and the ribs. This is especially, if you look at it, the verse before it, it is mentioned that how the person is created. It is created from the fluid which comes out from this area. It seems to be very strange if you look at it 100 years back, that actually we know that now that the testis is the source of sperms and the semen, and they are lying in the scrotum. They are not lying between the rib cage or in the backbone. But in this verse, it is mentioned very clearly that proceedings between the backbone and the ribs. So that is actually the place where the testis started making, or they are started forming in embryology. When the fetus is very small, that is the origin of the testis, and then it descends down to the scrotal area. That is one thing. Second thing is that even in the adult life, like all of us, the blood supply, the nerve supply, and the venous drainage still goes into that area, which fact has been shown recently when the people have done the anatomy of that area, that how the things are looking in that direction. Then I go to one of more verse before I go to the main topic. This is Surah Hajj, ayat number 5, and I just go to the one of the specific area in that that we created out of dust, then out of sperm, then out of leash like clot, then out of the morsel of the flesh, partly formed and partly unformed, in order to that we manifest our power to you, and we cause whom we will be rest in the wombs for the appointed terms, and then do we bring them as babes. This is exactly what is happening with the human formation nowadays, and we start knowing it. And this was mentioned about 1400 years back, that the sperm and the ovum meets together, then they get itself embedded into the uterine wall, and from they go through different stages, and finally they're born as a child. And this is what actually mentioned in the Quran, and now it has been confirmed by different ways, and it is part of our syllabus now. When we read it, we have to understand all these things as a part of our medical education. Just some facts about camels, which is any simple facts, that there are two types of camels. One is dromedary camel, which is called Arabian, or a single hump camel, which is present all around in Middle East. We have seen in his sort of a off-white color or yellowish color camel. Another one is Bactrian camel, or a two-hump camel. They are fully mature at the age of 7 years, and their gestational period, the fetus remains in the womb of the female camel for about 14 months, and after that a baby camel is born. So that is just briefly about this thing. And some more facts about it, that Bactrian camel is about height of about 6 feet, and it weighs about 600 to 1000 kilogram. And dromedary camel, which is the camel we normally see in around us, it's got a height of 6.5 feet, and it's about 400 to 600 kilogram. It can run at a speed of 25 miles per hour, and if you kick him or try to increase the speed, maximum it can go up to 40 miles per hour. So 25 is normal speed, but it can go up to 40 miles per hour. Now, the main important facts will start about camel. I will start from the anatomy, how it looks like and what is special thing in his face, in his body and in his legs, and then I go into the physiology of it, what is special things about it. First of all, I come to the nose of the camel, which is the nostrils, and this is the nostrils here. They can completely close, as you can see in the other picture, they can completely close, and here they are open. The purpose of this closure and opening is that they will protect the camel from having the sand going into the nostrils, because they are going through the sand and the desert all the time. So if this quality is not there, the nostril will remain open and the sand will go into the body, which is obviously affect him badly. So that is one quality. Second one is that nose acts as humidifier and dehumidifier. We all have got the same quality. When we take the breath from outside, we humidify that breath, goes to the lungs where the oxygen exchange takes place, and when we bring the breath out, some water vapors are there. This is standard thing, and that water vapors give rise to a little bit warm air when it comes out of the body. But in camel, if you look at it, the surface area of the nose is quite big. If you compare the nose of a human being, it is only 2 square inches, while the camel has got a surface area of the nostrils is 155 square inches. When the air goes in, it humidifies that air easily. Air is very hot from outside. It goes through big channel, so it gets humidified and goes into the lung in a very good temperature, which can afforded by the camel lungs easily. When he exhales, brings out the breath outside the body, then it stays in that nostrils for the same period of time, and it actually get the vapors out from there and makes the air cooler. So the air when they breathe out the breath out from the camel, the temperature is 18 centigrade less than the body temperature, which is quite remarkable, which is quite significant. And secondly, it has got a special lining of the membrane of the camel nose, which absorb fluid from the camel, from the water, from the air. So these are the two special qualities of it, that it will make the breath a bit cooler, and it absorbs the fluid from the surface of the nose into the body again. Second thing is eyes. The eyes of the camel has got a very strange construction. It has got a transparent eyelid in front of it, which is the third one, and it can able to see it even in the very significantly dust storm, and when nobody is able to see it because everybody has to close the eyes, he can able to see in that situation also, because it's a transparent third lid. And the lashes has got 2 rows, which is upper, and the upper lashes has got 2 rows of eyebrows, and they can protect it from the sand going into the eyes. It is extra protection from Allah because he's living in the desert condition. So this is another special thing about it. Now, other thing is the mouth of the camel. And it's a quite strange thing. It has got 3 lips. The upper lip is broken into 2 parts, right and the left, and there's a cleft in the middle. And the lower lip has got 1 single lip. The surface is the mucous membrane which we have got in our mouth is very soft, and it can be easily injured by anything which can be harmful to body. But their mucous membrane is more like a leathery appearance, and they are able to eat bushes, plants, thorns, any thorns which are present in the desert environment. They can eat it, and they are able to digest them also. So this is very peculiar. Secondly, the advantage of 2 lips in the upper part is that it can expand significantly. So if they're taking any particular bush which is quite big in size, which he's not able to accommodate with a single lip, then there's those split lips accommodate those things easily, and it will help him to take the food in and use it for their for his own sort of a health. The common sort of a thing which we see in a camel, which is outstanding thing, is the hump. And any camel which is standing in front of us, as compared to donkeys, horses, or any other mammal, hump is something which is standing out clearly. What is special thing about hump? It doesn't store water. That was something a myth in the past, that when the camel drinks water, it goes to the hump and stores there. No, it only stores fat. And any camel which is eating quite regularly and in a good shape, it can store up to 30 kilogram of fat, 30 kilogram, which means that a weight of a 10-year-old boy or girl, it can store up to that much fat. And that fat is utilized when there is no food available in the desert, and it can be utilized by breaking up those fat. You can see the picture here on the left hand side, that this is a floppy mammal hump, because this camel is deprived of his normal food for some time, and that fat has been utilized by the camel for his normal energy requirement. So this is the difference between the advantage of the hump present on the back of the mammal. Then Allah Ta'ala has given a strange feet to the camel. It has got 2 sort of portions or 2 parts, the 2 bones in the feet, and there's a web in between. So when they actually hit the sand, they spread out, and the web prevents them going deep into the sand. So this is actually meant to be used, or meant to be work in a sandy environment, so that their feet don't go in and sink down into the sandy environment, and they keep on running in a normal and there's no much problem in running of the camel. Second thing is that the sand is very hot, very hot. This has got a special layer underneath the sole which has got a fat in it, which prevents that area to get overheated when the sand is very hot. So this is a special again arrangement from Allah. the legs of the camel are very long, so that those legs keep the camel away from the keeps the camel body away from the sand, which is very hot. Again, that is an extra requirement or extra necessity for the camel to keep the body temperature maintained. The other thing is that you will see that camel has got a certain callosities. You can see these black things. They are not because that the camel become older and they develop something there, but as a newborn camel, this is something, as a structure is there, because these are the area the camel sits on the sand, and they get very hot, so they are more likely to burn. So Allah Ta'ala has already protected this mammal from this area so that they don't get burned in this particular area, because they are sitting on this area most of the time. Now the other quality, which is the remarkable quality and the most important quality of the camel, is to conserve water. Because you have heard about it, and we have heard from a very small our age, that they can go without 2 to 3 weeks in the desert without eating and drinking, which is a fact. And why and how it happens, that is the most important thing which I would like to share with you. There is a thick layer of subcutaneous fat protect from the outside heat. So that fat protect from outside heat, and that fat also protects the mammal to conserve the heat also, because the mammal, you will be very surprised to know that it is not the mammal who lives in the desert, it lives in the cold snow environment also, which means that where the freezing temperature, there will be a temperature below freezing point, they can survive there also very easily. So this is a special quality of a mammal. They can live in a very cold environment and then live in a very hot environment. Normally, our body temperature is 37 degrees Celsius, and if it goes to 38 degree, we start running fever. 39, it is even worse. 40, we are very unwell. Allah Ta'ala has given camel a special quality that from 34 to 41 degrees Celsius, which means 7 degrees, it can vary without affecting camel in any bad way. So, which is a significant change of temperature without causing any problem to the camel. And then they don't perspire also, which means they don't sweat during this change of temperature. If they start sweating, they will lose water, and water can't be lost in the camel in the desert environment. So, in spite of having 7 degree fluctuation in the temperature, they are able to maintain and conserve their water very well. And even if they lost the water on the skin of the camel, their fur, which is present on the surface of the skin, will protect the water vapors inside it, and that will keep the camel cool, and it will again prevent the significant loss of the fluid outside the body. God has also made the kidneys in such a way that it can conserve the fluid to a significant level. Normally, in a normal everyday situation, camels can produce 7 liters of urine a day. 7 liters of urine a day. While in this environment of when there's no water there and they are having quite significant dryness and hot temperature, they can only produce 500 milliliter of urine. So it is about from 7 liter to 500 is a quite significant drop of output of the urine, and still they can survive. So it becomes more like a syrup form. Instead of a fluid, it more appears like a syrup. And the final thing is that the stool, which when they pass the stool, they are very dry. They can be used almost straight away to lit the fire and to cook the food, which is again quite astonishing thing, that it is so dry because the body has conserved the fluid significantly from that stool, which can be used straight away for the purpose of benefit to the people there. Now, going to the another fact of camel, which is its blood cells. If anybody takes fluid, I give you the example that if you start drinking water, after 1 or 2 liters, if you try to do it that much, you will absorb water, and then you will, we call this condition called water intoxication, which means that the fluid go into the body, it dilutes the blood, it causes low sodium into the circulation, it gives rise to brain edema, and finally the patient start having convulsions or fits. This is medical entity which we sometimes see because of one or the other reason. Camel can drink 113 liters in just a matter of 10 to 15 minutes in one go without affecting its entire physiology itself. And how it happens? The camel red blood cells, which I just show you in the picture here, they are oval in shape. So they increase in size almost double when the camel takes water, and they store the water in themselves, and that helps to store some fluid there. That's one way. Secondly, when the water is depleted, completely gone out of the body, or it is very, very little amount of water is there, then because of this shape, they can line up in the veins or the arteries, and they can circulate through the body easily. If, as compared to this, our blood cells, human blood cells, are not oval, they are biconcave disc, like circular in shape. So they can easily block the vessels, and that gives rise to stoppage of the circulation, and then finally it will give rise to other problems. So the Allah Ta'ala has created these blood cells in such a way that it can increase in size, it can go into the single file through the fine vessels even when the dehydration is present there. And as I just mentioned, and it will be again repeated in the next slide, that it can drink fairly quickly, but there is no disadvantage to the camel in spite of drinking so much amount of fluid in such a short span of time. Some other facts about camel is that because of any different change of temperature from 32.4 to 41, which I mentioned earlier, by this variation and not sweating, they conserve about 5 liters of water per day. If you can imagine that if they are losing 5 liters of water every day, they will be dehydrated fairly quickly. So just because of changing of the temperature from 34 to 41 without perspiration, they can conserve 5 liters every day. And their immunoglobulin has got only light chains. Normally we have got light chains and heavy chains in human beings. They have got only light chains. What is the significance of that? It's not clear. So I was not able to find anything particularly about that, but maybe in some other slide which I mentioned, there may be some role playing later on, which more research needs to be done about it. Maybe it is more helpful to prevent infections or something else which we don't know at the moment. Another interesting thing is that normally the kidneys, the urea is made by the liver, and they finally excrete by the kidneys. So kidney is the main source of excreting of the urea, which goes out in the urine. In camels, the urea is reabsorbed into the circulation. It just comes back into the blood again, and it secretes out in the saliva of the mouth. Saliva means whatever the secretions we have got in our mouth, and then it converts into the protein, and that protein helps in digestion of the food for the camel. So it's a cycle going on. The urea reabsorbed, comes into the saliva, converts into the protein, and then again used again. So this is again something to conserve the energy as well as to conserve the water in the animal. Another interesting thing is that whenever there is a dehydration, the people are not able to drink water, they are very dry environment, there is a secretion of a hormone from the brain which is called ADH, anti-diuretic hormone, which is present in all the mammals. Human beings have got the same hormones also present. But what happens is that when this hormone is secreted, it conserves the fluid into the body, but it will make the milk of the camel very diluted. So if somebody is traveling with a female camel in a desert and he needs something to drink, the camel milk will be very suitable for this person because it will be extra diluted by nature to conserve the water as well as to keep the physiology of the camel right and get that water excreted into the milk. Instead of excreting anywhere else, it goes into the milk and it will be useful for the human consumption. So it is a very strange phenomena to help the animal and help the person who is keeping the animal. Camel milk is again another interesting fact about camel milk is that it is rich in vitamin C. In desert environment, you will not get any plants. If the person is traveling for weeks or months in desert, you will not get any plants where you can have vitamin C like oranges, lemons, or any other citrus fruits. So camel milk is rich in vitamin C. It is 3 times of cow milk and 1.5 times of human milk. So it is very good in a desert environment to utilize it for the needs of the vitamin C, which is again something very alhamdulillah nice for the human consumption. I will be just mentioning few medical facts, which is I just copy from our things that what is research going on now about camel urine and camel blood. So camel urine and camel milk. Camel urine components display anti-cancer properties in vitro. This is the study published in this journal which I mentioned as a reference in 2012. And what they have done actually is that they use the camel urine in a cell line. They developed the cell line of the human cell line, and they found that they can stop the cancer production in all the cell lines except that it is the normal cells and fibroblasts which keep on maintaining the normal environment, normal activity, which is good for the if you look at for the patient, when we give the chemotherapy to the patient, it kills all the cells. So that is not good. Here they are doing some research which is showing that it only works on the cancer cells, other cells are maintained. This is second last slide, inshallah. Then the beneficial effect of the camel milk in diabetic nephropathy. This is again, they have selected 24 patients and they give camel milk to these patients, and they found that their blood sugar control was much better, and the amount of the protein which is losing from the kidney was much better. So this is another, and this studies have been again reproduced by other people, that the camel milk is used for the control of diabetes, and people are doing it and using it, and there is no harm if anybody wants to try it, because it is some sort of a research and it is something which you can drink easily. But the only thing is that don't drink the fresh camel milk. Always use the pasteurized camel milk, because fresh camel milk can have some bacteria which can be harmful to the body. So if you have to use the camel milk, use